So I am in two other classes for this semester right now, and they both fall under the war and violence track like this one does. And it's really interesting because all three of them aligned this week in discussing why soldiers fight in war and how they were able to actually justify it too. Not just why they fought, but how they were able to justify it. It's really fun to sit back and compare different soldiers in different parts of the world and at completely different times and see how they were able to justify such grand acts against people who are honestly just like them. One of the classes requires watching the film Sergeant York, where a soldier goes through a religious struggle of being able to justify killing another person. But when he eventually does, becomes one of the greatest soldiers on the front and returns home to a normal life like nothing ever happened. Of course, this film has a propaganda aspect to it, but it generally is based on a true story, and it is so interesting to contrast that with this class, and where there is the same dilemma, but instead of it being one person, it's an entire religion. When a religion is in its early years, as it is in this time period that we are discussing, it is more formidable than it was during Sergeant York, which takes place during World War One. But still, many of the same justifications are the same. There is still the concept of killing someone who is guilty versus someone who is innocent, and being that you are on the same page with God and determining and who is good and who is not in the same regard. Like, that's a big moral dilemma. I really appreciated in chapter 5 was included to show you how the dynamic of this justification process is, that the church had to figure out a way to justify killing other Christians in addition to people who were not. Because beforehand it was easy to say, yeah, you need to kill the Romans, they're pagan, or you need to kill the barbarians, they're pagan. But when you have to justify killing other Christians, that's where it gets kind of tricky. This chapter made this book more relatable to recent wars where actors were largely Christian and helped span the time gap between the two different sources.